Family, friends, and students, welcome to another episode of Grappling with Grace, where men can find health, hope, and healing in becoming the best version of themselves mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. Today we have a return guest. I think actually this is going to be your third time. Third time on the podcast. Means a lot, says a lot. And before we get started, I'm going to give you a quick bio for those of you guys who do not know Professor Eric. Eric Uresk is a coach, mentor, and leader whose life story is a powerful testament to transformation, redemption, and personal responsibility. His journey to this work was anything but conventional, moving through addiction, violence, and street life before rebuilding his life from the ground up through discipline, inner work, faith, and martial arts. From career criminal to professional fighter, Eric went on to earn black belts in both Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Judo while coaching alongside some of the world's top MMA athletes. That experience isn't simply part of his story, it's the foundation of his credibility. Today, Eric works with individuals, couples, and leaders who are tired of repeating the same cycle and are ready for real change. His work focuses on helping people confront the hidden patterns, blind spots, wounds, and internal narratives that quietly shape their relationships, leadership, and everyday lives. Blending deep personal insight, shadow work, body-based practices, and practical accountability, Eric helps people move beyond awareness into lasting transformation. Eric is the founder of Eric Uresk Coaching and creator of Stepping Out of the Story, a framework centered on one powerful truth. Understanding your problems and changing your life are two very different skills. Ain't that the truth? Yeah. He is also the co-founder of The Work, a San Diego-based men's group where men gather to do the kind of honest inner work most never experience, confronting what's driving their behavior, what's hurting their relationships, and what's keeping them stuck. No ego, no pretending, just real men doing real work together. On this episode of Grappling with Grace, we sit down with Eric to discuss identity, transformation, leadership, masculinity, healing, discipline, and what it truly takes to become the best version of yourself, mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. We also are going to close out the conversation by diving into some MMA culture and jiu-jitsu culture, the evolution of coaching, gym culture, fighting, the deeper lessons martial arts can teach about life, purpose, and personal growth. Eric, thank you for being here for the third time.
Oh,
thank you, Professor. How have you been, Professor? How's everything going?
Man, things are going well. Things are busy, and
good.
Things are popping off, but everything's good.
Good.
Yeah.
Busy's good. Busy's good.
Yeah.
As you know how we do, we start off with about 15, 20 questions. It's an interview style format. Let's jump in it. You ready?
So,
all right. Question number one. You've lived multiple lives: addiction, violence, fighting, coaching, and leadership. At what point in your life did you realize information alone doesn't change a man?
that's a great question. I think it probably the past 10 years. You know, I got sober, and that was a big thing. I mean, I was gonna die.
Sure.
And so to get sober was a massive thing. And I got sober through the 12 steps. And relationships were still really hard. I was still really unhappy. I was still really living with PTSD, really,
Sure.
right? And no amount of 12-step work was going to get me through PTSD. And I kept looking for things. And, you know, I was one of those guys, I would read self-help books and I would understand the concepts and I would talk about the concepts, but I couldn't live as if those things were true internally. Like I understood them, I believed them. I thought that like, because I had that intellectual understanding, and I say that because I see a lot of guys do that.
Right.
You know, my wife was probably the biggest catalyst to all that, because prior to that, I've never had like a real like sustained relationship with a woman for that was functional and healthy, and getting involved with Azima, seeing my stuff come up over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And not really having a pathway to deal with it. Like I was hyper aware. I could see it.
Right.
And so I started getting exposed to models that could really confront me and challenge me and put my current model up to a litmus test.
Right.
Right. And I think that's really important. Like having a method to put your current model up to some sort of litmus test. Right. Not that it's bad or wrong, not that you're a bad person for doing this model, but seeing what your current model, the results that it's creating.
Right. Did you come to a point, so where was the point at where you realized I could read all these books? Like was there a point, do you remember a point where you understood yourself that this wasn't enough to just read the books, to actually start to like, because I, as we talk about that, like a lot of the guys I counsel fall into that same category. Like, do you remember exactly that when that point happened, or was it just like a culmination of?
I'll say a big thing was going to Choice Center.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Choice Center was really instrumental in that, because prior to that, I knew the personal responsibility. I knew my problem. I am the source of my problems, right?
Yeah.
I knew all that, but man, a lot of that misses the ball in the work because it's so fucking shame based. It's so like, I actually don't believe I'm the problem anymore. I believe I had a way of relating to things that created problems for me.
That's good. Yeah.
And I had to relearn a lot of that stuff, but I already knew all that, but I couldn't make use of it.
Right.
I couldn't make use of it. I needed to be confronted and held with love at the same time.
Yeah.
Right. Those two things.
Confronting it, being able to withstand that or understand why that's important is hard for most men.
Yeah.
It's hard for most men.
Yeah.
Are you still involved with the Choice Center?
No, not much anymore.
Okay.
Not much anymore.
Okay. All right. Number 2, why do so many men today resist leadership, accountability, or even mentorship? Why do people think they can figure life out completely on their own? What do you think? Or what have you seen?
What I'm starting to really see is that shame is so deeply entrenched into manhood and our culture. There's a model of success that we have. And look, it's being a provider, being a protector, being all those things. I do think it is important. I think it's in the best interest of humanity to have men around there like that.
Yeah.
But when we use shame as the model to get there, like if you're not this, then you're not a man. You're not this. You're not that. I think we do a poor job bringing men into manhood.
Yeah.
Right. There's not a lot of ritual anymore. There's another word that I'm looking for.
Rite of passage, perhaps?
Rite of passage type stuff,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, we don't bring, well, I didn't get brought into that at all. I just had to figure everything out.
Yeah.
But then the expectations are really high. Like now more high than ever. I want you to think about this. When our dads, right, were young men.
Sure.
Really all that was expected for them was to provide financially.
Yeah.
And maybe physical safety, like keep the family safe, right, to some sense, right? That was a big thing, I think, in our father's generation and prior generations, right? They lived a very different life. Now a man is expected to provide not just financially, not just maybe even physically, but also emotionally.
Right.
Right. So this game got changed like having a rug pulled out from underneath you. Okay. Right. And it's getting harder and harder to do all of those things. Yeah. Like as a young man, it's harder to own a home now. Yeah. It's harder to do all these things than it was for our parents' generation. So, we're sort of in the mix, right in the sort of the line of where that started to change, where we saw both worlds.
Right.
And so I think that's it. And I think the two models that this gets lost in, right, is like the airy fairy yoga bead guy, and we're just gonna, we're gonna get in touch with our feminine side and all that stuff. And not that there's not a use for that somewhere. Sure. And then there's the David Goggins model, right? There's either no accountability, right, or just accountability,
right.
And I think it's got to be accountability and love. And I think a lot of people are out there don't know how to hold both those things together. A lot of people that are out there saying I'm a guide, I'm a mentor, don't know how to hold those two things together.
I agree 100%. It's hard to live it. It's hard to take anybody that's one way or the other a little serious. Yeah. Because I'm like, there's no way you're just like that all the time. There's no way, like that's, I mean, and I'm not saying that they're living a lie, but 100%. I've seen that, and it eventually crumbles. Me and my little guy were talking at breakfast this morning, and we were talking about the Choice Center, like emotional intelligence. I said, man, they should teach EQ in like high school, because you get out of high school, he goes, when would be a good time? I think it's like senior year, right? I go, no, bro, 9th, 10th grade. Like you have to, you can't expect a man in this day and age to all of a sudden graduate and then have a high emotional intelligence when you've never been taught that word or understand what that is.
Yeah.
So it's really important. What do you think is the difference between a man who wants comfort and a man who wants growth?
Well, I think, there's men who prioritize comfort and a man who prioritizes growth. I think it's okay to want comfort, and I think it's okay to want growth, right? You can want something, but if you don't prioritize it, you're not going to have it.
What does that look like? What does a healthy balance look like for you? Like for the men that you talk, the men that you deal with, the men that you do you want to call that counseling, or what do you call
Coaching, mentorship? Yeah, it's more mentorship.
What does that look like for you?
So I think the first thing is really helping a person learn how to begin to decipher their own inner world, like what their desires are, where their desires come from, how much of their desires are born from assumptions, obligations, or expectations of their programming.
Right.
Yeah. I think you have to become aware of that first. A lot of people, when you're running off programming, right, who the world told you you're supposed to be, a lot of times it can be in contradiction with who you actually want to be. A lot of us shut a lot of ourselves off, right? Think about when you were doing your thing in the street, a lot of your joy probably got cut off, like your ability to express joy. Now your ability to express joy is very abundant. It's out there. People can see that, right? I would say that's probably more authentically who you 100%. Are. The other one's who you learned you had to be to survive an environment. Okay. So one thing we want to get really clear on, who did I learn I had to be to survive my environment, and how much of that programming is creating what I think I want.
Say that again. Who did you learn I had to be?
I had to be in order to survive my environment. Now, it doesn't have to be no gangster shit.
Right,
it could be, I had a
straight A student.
From it could be a straight A student, and I had to do that for my parents to be nice to me or to receive love, safety, and belonging, right? So I think you want to identify that first, because if we just start going after the symptom of wanting comfort or wanting change, I know a lot of guys that want change, but they want it from a place of, or they want transformation or growth, but they want it from a place of shame. They want it from a place of, I'm not enough. And here's what happens with that cycle. And I've been through this, and you might even be able to see yourself in this. When I want it from a place of shame, right? The energy of shame depletes you. Right? When you do something in the energy of shame long enough, it's like, oh man, I got to get on a diet because I'm a fat, disgusting pig. Right? You could see that guy. That guy might even stick to the diet.
Sure.
But he's always going to be in fear. It's always going to be a tense thing. It's always going to be, I don't want to go back to being fat because I could never love that version of myself. Some people can't even stick to the diet because when they're on the diet, when they're on the program, they're doing it from such a rigid, self-hating place that eventually they look for a release. Then they yo-yo, they go back off, right?
Gain more weight.
They need the relief.
You know, what's not funny, but like you said, this is something that I went through when I was dealing with my addiction and talking and dealing with my pastor, who's the investor of the gym. I would call him up when I would fall off the wagon, right? Call him, Pastor, I'm so sorry. He's like, and then he'd be like, oh, it's okay. You know what? Don't use it anymore. See you tomorrow. And I remember calling him back and like, hey, I messed up. He's like, all right, it's cool, man. I love you. And I was like, can you yell at me? Can you scream at me, please?
Right.
And he goes, why? He goes, bro, it changed my life. He goes, why? The world yells at you enough. He goes, I just gotta love you, bro. Changed my life. And I realized I don't need to be shamed. I don't need to be yelled at. And that was like the first step in like really changing my life around when it came to my addiction. But I think a lot of men walk around like that. Because a lot of men walk around like, the only way I'm gonna learn is if I get beat. The only way I'm gonna learn is if I get shamed, if I get put down. That's a super unhealthy place to be, man.
Yeah, I think what I'm starting to see more than, and look, sometimes you can get started on your road from a place of shame.
Sure.
I think a lot of people do. I think most people might even get started on their road from a place of shame. And that's okay. I don't think that's the fuel source that's going to sustain you to where you actually want to go.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
that's good.
It may be what you need to get started.
To kindle the fire.
Right. Yeah. I have a friend that has like a great analogy, and he would talk about like, when they send a rocket into space out of the atmosphere, there's one set of fuel that gets it out of the atmosphere.
Yeah.
And then once it's in space, it has to change fuels. Like that fuel source doesn't work anymore. Yeah. Right. And I kind of look at this like that. So
that's good.
It's really helping people tap into the fuel source of like who they want to become, but from a place of actual desire, not from a place of I'm going to hate myself if I don't do that.
Wow, that's really good. A lot of men understand their trauma intellectually, or we're talking about that, but they still repeat the same destructive cycles. Why does awareness alone fail to create transformation?
Okay, so when we talk about a logical understanding, right? Logical understanding has no bearing on your emotional inner world. Okay,
that's good.
So your inner world emotionally, right, sets up an internal structure. Okay. Now, let's say you're a young man, and I have guys that I coach that if I give them an assignment, it would kill them to not get the assignment done. Right? Not getting the assignment done, there would be so much self-hatred, and that's not even an option. So that they're the mechanism that they've got to keep them in line. I will not be worthy of love, safety, and belonging if I don't do this. They're not conscious of this. It just happens. It creates a state inside of them where they can't be at rest until they get the thing done. Right? That's the fastest way for them to go towards the thing.
Right.
Okay. Now those guys have a hard time resting.
Sure.
Right. Now then there's other people that when you give them something to do, right, something outside of what's normal for them, their internal structure is to avoid it. Their internal structure is to fear not doing it perfectly, right? Their path of least resistance is to shut down, avoid, right? Put it off, procrastinate.
Right.
Right. Okay. So if I was to say, just do it, they could do that for a little while, right? They might be able to do that for a short amount of time, just go through the thing over and over and again. But eventually they're going to return to their path of least resistance.
Right.
Right. The same way somebody trying to shift their health habits from a place of shame will often yo-yo back into the old habits. Yeah. Okay. A lot of times the patterns that we have set up, they're set up for our safety. At one point in time, we needed to do it this way for our safety, for our survival, even if that was emotional safety or survival, right? It might not, sometimes it's actual physical safety and survival. Okay. If I don't get small when somebody gets loud, I'm going to get my ass beat. Now, if we tell that person, just stand up for yourself, right? Their internal system has no safety, no sense of empowerment in doing that. They have no track record, nothing to anchor to.
Because the pattern has always been, right? Okay.
Right? They've done this once, they've done it twice, they've done it a bunch of times as a kid. This is how I got my needs met. The need being met was I didn't get my ass beat. Right. I disappeared, right? I made myself invisible, okay? If we're just asking them to change the behavior without addressing the identity, nothing changes.
Yeah.
Okay. And the identity is a lot, when we talk about addressing the identity, is the version of me that doesn't feel safe doing the new thing, even though the new thing would actually give me the results that I want.
Right.
Right. My internal world doesn't know the difference.
So how do you help somebody find their true identity?
Start bringing them into their unconscious. I use the model of EFT mostly to do that.
Talk about that.
So EFT is emotional freedom technique.
Okay.
It's there's a series of tapping points, and that helps people ground themselves into the body. Also kind of helps move things around as we're exploring it.
Like our emotions and our feelings?
Yeah. And so I'll be asking them questions and getting them present to sensations in their body. And so I would help them construct a statement like, all right, it could be like something like, even though I know I need to get this project done, there's a part of me that doesn't want to do it. Right. So then I check for resonance when they say that. I was like, does that feel true? Okay. And they'll say, yeah, that feel in my body, that feels true. Okay. And so I keep taking them through what feels true. Right. And then we might even create some understanding about where that come from. When's the first time I remember this happening? What made this pattern necessary at some point in time? So we start to see the necessity. We start to create an understanding, right? As you start to create some understanding, oftentimes there'll be some emotional expressing that needs to happen. Some of these parts are, every people pleaser I've ever met is filled with rage inside. They have no access to it, right? So they might start getting access to this rage. They might start getting access to tears, to anger, to all the times they said yes when they wanted to say no. And that stuff needs to express. They might even have aspects of themselves that are angry at them for doing that.
Sure.
Right? That stuff needs to get expressed. Once there's some expression that's satisfying, and they'll know in their system when it's out, at least for that moment in time, then we can start creating some nurture. We can say, what do I need, right? How can I begin to meet my needs here? And once we've created the safety, understanding, and nurture, then the reprogramming is possible. Then there's usually space, opportunity, and desire for a new possibility to be safe, to be safe enough to practice.
Okay. The tapping points, are they like pressure points, or what do you? No,
they're like meridians. So there's like top of the head, eyebrows, right? Temples, under the cheeks.
Yeah.
And then there's a few more.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not about like doing them in order so
Sure.
much as they just they keep a person in their physical body, and they
Right.
help the person stay in their experience rather than in their head.
Yeah.
Right. And it takes some practice for
Sure.
some people. Some people are so in their head. You'll ask them a question and you can see them like going up here
Right.
to think about the answer rather than feel the answer.
Yeah. What are some signs that that's great, Professor? That's good stuff, man. What are some signs that a man is secretly losing the battle internally, even though he looks successfully externally?
Look at how the general quality, the texture, the musical note, to borrow something from my buddy Flynn, the musical note that you experience through your day.
Right.
What's that note like? Is it stress? Is it tight?
Yeah, that's
right?
beautiful. What did you say? The musical note of your day?
Yeah. What is that frequency that you experience? And this might all sound like hippie shit, but think
No, I
about
love it.
Like,
Yeah.
if you're listening to this, think about it. As you go through your day, there's a feeling to it.
100%.
If you're feeling urgent all day, really sit and what does urgency feel like? Right? Sit with what urgency feels like.
Yeah.
If you're worried all day, what does it feel like to worry? If you're getting distracted into lust,
Yeah.
what does the pull to lust feel like?
Right.
Right? And start to get acquainted with these things, because if you don't know what they feel like, then you're unconscious to them.
Yeah.
And if you're unconscious to them, you can do nothing about them. You can logically know they happen, but you have no relationship with them.
Yeah. Or you don't fully understand it till it's at 100%, right? And then you're in trouble.
There's logical understanding, and then there's the experiential understanding.
Okay,
I can
explain
see
that.
my stuff coming up a mile away. So I'm in my men's group
Yeah.
last night. Okay. And we're just having a conversation. I was talking about when people aren't aware of the projections of their pain, it can be hard to have certain conversations with them because they can't see past their own pain.
Right.
Okay. I said, and even being like, I can be aware that I have this thing that's triggering to me, but also not act from it. Right. So, and this is funny because I'm in your company, but I get triggered by when people start going into, I don't really get triggered when you do it, when people start talking about Jesus in a way but it's almost like in a way that everything else is bullshit.
Sure.
And I get really upset by that.
Oh,
but
wow, yeah.
I can have a conversation with somebody and not let that,
Right.
I know it's there. I'm not ignoring it.
Right.
I'm aware of it. I'm aware to not let it create the entire lens that I view the conversation through.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm not aware of that, I'm just going to get annoyed.
Sure.
And if I'm unconscious to it, it's probably going to make choices for me.
Right.
Right. So like being able to have that skill to do that.
That's a powerful skill. Where does somebody learn that? At your work? Like what else? Like where else are people, how do people even know that they need that?
Well, yeah, it's
right. So like
it's
we're understanding, like you and I both understanding you at a much higher level, but we understand that men need help, right? And we do it we have the same goal, helping men, right? We kind of do it in two different ways, but like as a young teen, when you're 20, like how do you even? I guess there's so many answers. Or so
it's the skill of awareness. You start teaching awareness. You start teaching basic little things. Like a lot of times when I first start working with somebody, they're like kind of astounded at how often I ask them to notice something. All right. Now, if I ask you to notice something, what does that mean to you?
Focus on it.
Yeah. Sure. Focus on it. And sometimes when they're noticing, like their mind, they take noticing and then they go to figure out. They go to create a story around it. Okay. So I have a 6-piece module system to kind of teach people how to do this. It's called stepping out of the story. So we're all living in a story.
Sure.
Right. Our story is how we identify with ourselves based off our past and how we experience the world interacting with that story.
Yeah.
Right. So, when you were out doing your thing in the street or I was out doing, I identify with, I'm this guy.
Right.
Based off the feedback that I got from my environment. Right. And I got other people to buy the story. Right. Now people treat me like I'm the story. But I came up with needing that identity way before these people started treating me like that. Yeah. Right. And to some degree, I was actually even conscious of it. A lot of it I was unconscious of. Yeah. Right. So we want to start to get conscious of this stuff. So if I was to say, how do we create awareness? So what's a thing in your life that you feel comfortable sharing now that's troubling right now or just a little minorly stressful?
That I'm dealing with right now?
Yeah.
Probably just building back the gym.
Okay.
Building the gym back up.
All right,
Yeah.
so do me a favor, just close your eyes for a minute. And I want you to just get in touch with what's stressful about building the gym back up. And I just want you to bring that statement sort of and let your body just sort of hold that.
Yeah.
Okay. And as you think about the stress of it, I want you to feel where that shows up in your body. It might show up in your chest and your throat and your stomach, maybe some tension somewhere.
Yeah.
And let me know when you identify the chest.
Chest and shoulders right here, this upper part right here.
And just notice it and don't try to figure out what it means.
Okay.
Don't notice if your body wants to add a story to it or something like that. And just notice the sensation. And what can you tell me about the sensation?
It's anxiety.
Okay. So that's a label of it. What can you tell me about the sensation itself?
Of my body?
Yeah. So the feeling you feel in your chest.
It's a floating sensation of losing something. I feel like I'm separated.
So stay in your experience as you do that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Now I want you to stay with that sensation and the feeling of losing something. That's what's making sense to you right now?
Yeah.
Okay, and just notice when that sensation is present, when the sensation of losing something is present, how you start to feel in your body.
My body feels cold.
Yeah.
It's starting to tense up.
And I want you to notice how you're relating to that feeling. Like, what's your relationship to it?
I'm trying to not let go of it. Like I don't want to think about it. I want to immediately fix things.
Okay, so this is really important. Stay with that. Okay, so notice when I feel this uncomfortable feeling, the first thing I want to do is do something to get this feeling to go away. I need to fix something to get this feeling to go away. And there's nothing wrong with that. But notice those would be actions that come from fear.
Yeah.
There would be actions that come from loss, right? Okay. See if you can just give that feeling permission to be there. Like energetically signal to it that it's all right for the feeling to be there. And just notice what happens when you do that, if you're able to access that.
Yeah, I get visuals.
Mm-hmm. What happens?
So I'm gonna tell you how the visual came about. So the visual is all these little blocks just being built up into a small tower, and somebody keeps knocking them over, and I want to go and fix it. I want to go and fix it. The minute you told me to just give it a chance, I let them stay there, and then how the tower fell over where all the blocks are at, and I didn't have to worry about it. I just let it try to sit to that. They just started growing on their own. It was like a bigger, stronger tower. Yeah.
Yeah. So just one more question. Yeah. Stay with that feeling for a moment. And what does it feel like would happen if you didn't jump to fix things and just let that feeling be there? Not what your mind understands is the right answer. What feels like, what does the consequence feel like it would be if you didn't jump into fixing it right now?
It would just work out on its own.
Do you really believe that?
I do.
Okay. So I believe that you believe that up here.
Yeah.
If your system fully believed that, I don't know if the fear of loss would be here.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what does the fear of loss think would happen if you didn't rush into fixing? So the answer probably isn't going to be here.
Yeah.
It'll probably be in feeling to what am I
know what it
perceiving?
is. I know what it is. The fear would be that I would let people down again.
Okay. Yeah. And what then what would that mean about you?
I just don't want to, I've let so many people down. You know, people always, a lot of people will look at me like as a great leader, and I think a lot of that has to do with just me being open with all my problems and being authentic. You know, like you really can't talk shit about me because I'm an open book, you know. But in the past, when I went through my last horrible depression and all that stuff, and a lot of people left the gym, a lot of my black belts left me, you know. And then I got clean, like I came back and I got the gym back. And I don't want to let anybody down again.
Okay. So do you want to
Yeah, let's go.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I just want you to notice what not wanting to, and it's not wrong to not want to let people down, but I also want you to notice what you might be protecting with that.
I think my name, maybe.
Yeah.
my name.
Yeah.
I'll share this. One of my black belts came and talked to me, because Professor, he goes, I'm so proud of you, man. You're teaching. I teach all the classes now, 5 a.m., 10 a.m. I teach all the classes. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. You know, I see that you put in the work. You're losing weight. You're doing great. You're preaching, doing all this stuff. And he goes, but I need to tell you something. He goes, I don't know how long it's gonna last, right? And I accepted that. And he goes, I don't want you to get mad at me. I go, I'm not. I go, I deserve that, because I've hurt everybody. But that scared me. In
I think one, that's a good friend for saying that.
Yeah, 100%. But that like, to the point where like I was like working, I was lifting weights, I was doing kettlebells, and he walks over, oh, Press, you look good. And I think it threw me off as well, because he went from there to be, but like brutally honest, which I needed that, but he told me, he goes, I don't know how long it's going to last. He goes, I want it to last, but I don't know how long it will, and that was scary for me.
And so check this out. So what I'm hearing, right, what I start to put pieces together, and I would check in with yourself if this resonates or not. One, I'm hearing a lot of the fuel source. It might not be the complete fuel source, but a lot of the fuel source is I'm afraid to let people down.
Yeah.
Right. I'm afraid to let people down, because I have let a lot of people down. Right. And one, there's probably some grief there that probably needs a little bit more processing, right? Because sometimes if I do it and I don't let them down, then I don't have to feel that pain.
Sure.
Right? Yeah. I don't have to live with that. But that's the thing that's driving all this. If that's the thing that continues to drive all this, it's depleting.
Yeah.
Right. At some point, I can't see that energy not being depleting at a certain point in time. Right. So one thing to sit with is, okay, my fear of not letting people down, my fear of my name, my fear of whatever that might mean about me, right? How much of the driving is that doing right now? Do I want that to be what's driving? What would I need to do to create enough safety internally to actually process what's there internally, the grief, the sadness, the fact that I have let people down, right?
Yeah, the fact that we're doing this right now, if you would have asked me yesterday or before we had this conversation, I would have been like, I just want men to heal like I did. I don't think I'm done healing. I don't think I'm even halfway done. I don't think I'm even halfway there. And understanding that this conversation that we're having right now, understanding that there's a part of me that is afraid to fail, but not because I want to be successful, because I failed in the past, if that makes sense, like what we just talked about. And like, yeah, you're right. I probably I do need to sit in that grief more.
Are you able to, and I'm going to ask, and not from a here level.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And I want to point out, remember, you said, oh, everything would work out.
Yeah.
Right. That's here.
Yeah.
Right? That's the logical understanding.
Sure. Yeah.
That's the value of going internally to see what my actual experience
is.
My actual experience is I'm afraid to fuck this up.
Right.
I'm afraid that if I don't teach every class, it's going to fall apart. It's not going to work. It's something like that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's like, what if I was able to like love and forgive the part of me that has done those things?
You know what? I tell people all the time, like, I've forgiven myself. I don't think I have 100%.
I'm based off this conversation. I think there's a part of you that doesn't feel forgiven. There's a big difference between forgiving yourself and actually experiencing forgiveness.
Yeah. Sometimes I feel like I don't deserve my boys, everything I put them through, and now they're my best friends. Like, we're together every day, like people. Yeah, there's a big part of that, man. You gonna charge me for this, Professor?
No, you're good, bro.
Yeah.
But that's what the work looks like.
Yeah. Man, if you don't get 500 people at the work on your next one, I don't know what's gonna happen. Yeah. We got a lot of work to do, Professor. That was great. That was powerful. That was really powerful.
Thanks for letting.
Yeah, no, I want people to be able to see that. That's like I always tell people, sometimes people think like, I'm sure with you too, they think you have it all together, right? I'm like, bro, I'm barely hanging on a string today.
Please don't think I got it.
Yeah, and I'm very open with that. And one of the things that I'm really good at, Professor, is always learning. Like, I've said this before, like, I just got my 5th degree, but every Monday and Wednesday I go train with a guy that I gave a black belt to, right? I go train with him every Monday, Wednesday at a different school just so I can learn, right? And I'm always open to just like, look, I guess I always look out for my blind spots, right? I can't see my blind spots. You can though. You know, when you were doing something, like, oh, I'm going to be okay. And then all of a sudden, I do a lot of things visually, you know, and do you see colors when you listen to music? Like when you listen to house and stuff like that?
I can, yeah. At times, yeah.
It's I'm a very visual person. Like when I pray, I visualize. When I meditate, I visualize. Yeah. I want to take a 20-minute break. I'm tired now. I wanted to ask something, but it'll come back. Let's keep going. Do you believe modern culture is producing weaker men emotionally and spiritually? And if so, why?
I think there's contributions. Yeah, I think, man, and I don't like saying this as like, oh, we're being victimized by this thing. I think the pendulum swung really, really hard.
Yeah.
Somewhere around 2015, 2016. And it was okay to hate men.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it was popular to hate men.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, you know, especially like in the internet, like when you're on the internet, but then that stuff does filter out into culture. Like I'll sit in a coffee shop and I'll just hear the, you know, baristas just talking about how much they hate white people or how much they hate men or how much, it's a pretty, I mean, I live in North Park, so I mean, you know, fairly expected, but it's like, oh, that stuff happens. And yeah, I think when that happens, I think a lot of like higher education, if you want to call it that, got involved, especially like the humanities and those studies. A lot of that got very pushed into this very feminine sort of thinking. I also think a lot of talk therapy is very feminine based. Like,
really,
what we did is not talk about your feelings just now.
What would you label that as?
You got to experience yourself.
That's good. Yeah.
Right. You got to experience yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. That's it. We didn't talk.
Yeah. We didn't talk about it.
No,
Yeah.
I don't fucking. We could do that. It's not a complete waste of time.
Sure.
But that's not what was happening right now. That's a very different thing.
And I like how you coached me and stopped me from like, hey, we're not up here. We're here, and you walked me through it very slowly. Yeah.
So I think. Yeah, I do think, but I think it's swinging back the other way. My fear is that it swings back too far, back to things that weren't good. Look, I don't think it was good that our fathers didn't know how to process their pain.
Right. Yeah.
I think a lot of us ended up carrying their pain.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's really important to understand that, like, the pain that you carried into your life and started believing what you needed to believe about yourself, and those beliefs that created your need to go do what you were doing, the drugs and all that stuff. It's like, man, you didn't ask for that. It is your responsibility, right? Every man has their responsibility to deal with what they've received.
I just, you know, I've talked about this before, like my story, but people, and I've shared this openly before, like the first time I shot somebody was an accident. It was an accident. Like it was an accident, right? And because this happened, now I had to carry this extra weight because now everybody's like, yep, he's the man. He's a shooter, right? And you don't, you do understand, but most people don't understand. You're living this lie. Like the person I am now, this is me. Funny, loving, like to dress weird, I paint my fucking hair, whatever, right? Like I like to have fun, right? It's just me. But I hid that because I thought I had to be somebody because even though I came from a loving home, I didn't feel loved. I didn't feel loved. And when I met this group of people that I thought loved me and they did in their own way, and I would, like, for my boss, I would have died for my boss. I would have taken a bullet for him. You know what I mean? Like, and that was, but I look back and like that whole Pepper Brooks thing, that wasn't me. That was a little fat kid inside of a grown ass body. Like no one's going to ever hurt Elias again. And that was such a weight when I started working on myself and figuring that out. Like I'm going to die living this lie. That was like, I lost a ton of weight, like an actual ton, like on my spirit, not just my body, like on my spirit, man. And I wonder how many guys are also living that lie.
Well, you just named it. What you just said is many people are dealing with some version of that. Might not be so extreme, might have nothing to do with a gun, but it's got something to do with where they received love, safety, and belonging. Yeah. Where they received meaning. Yeah. Right. And when you find access to that, you will develop a personality to get that.
Yeah. What are some lies men are believing right now that they are quietly destroying their relationships, purpose, and identity?
Well, I think one is like that worthiness lies in achievement.
That's huge. Yeah.
Right. And so then they go out achieving to feel worthy. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with achievement. Sure. Like I like achieving stuff. Sure. You know, I like applause. I like attention. I like all those things. But when I let that be the thing that runs me, what happens when I don't get it? If that's the only way I can fuel myself towards getting it, then I end up running into some issues. So yeah, it's like go out and achieve, right? But I think the more you can come from a place of stillness, and I think like, man, even though I'm not like traditionally religious, I'm a very God-centered person, and I think if we're not centered to something, some deeper meaning, anything that comes from that is going to be of the ego,
right?
You know, and when we chase the ego, I mean, I just watch it happen time and time again. Yeah, I watch it happen time and time again. Millionaire has all this stuff and he's miserable. He doesn't know how to have relationships and he thinks he just keeps moving the goalpost. He keeps moving the goalpost. Yeah. So I think that's a big one. I think the fact, like, it's not okay to be a man, just a man. And that's why I started the work. Yeah. I started the work because I wanted something where just regular guys, they didn't have to have some fucking weird pronoun or anything like that. Yeah. Just regular dudes could come and learn how to do this work.
I like looking at the pictures because those are like some hard ass looking dudes and they're like all sitting around just like just getting it. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. You know, so I wanted to make it like, who would I hang out with? Yeah. Right. And I got a mix, dude. I got, you know, we got some white dudes in there. We got a lot of brothers in there. We got you know, Hispanic people in there. We got all types of people in there, and it's great. I love it. Yeah. But
you guys are building community.
Yeah, and that's what we're doing. We're really building community around that thing. It's okay to be a man. Sure. And here's the other thing. It's okay to be a traditional man. I think like traditional manhood, a lot of it is our nature. Yeah. A lot of it is a script. Sure. Right? And I think it's important to decipher what's the script. What's the I'm supposed to part? Right. Right? And what's the actual desire that's coming from a deeper place?
Let's talk about that real quick. So in terms of the work, right? What does the ultimate, I don't want to use that word ultimate, what does being a man look like? Like, what are some things that, right? What does that look like?
I love this conversation because here's what I'm really starting to settle into. I think a real man does this is bullshit. Right. I got friends that they're not very masculine.
Masculine, like
yeah. They're men. Yeah. They probably have a little bit more feminine energy. Sure, yeah. I don't look at them as, hey, you're not a man. Yeah. Right? I think, here's what I think. Yeah. The pursuit of truth and love, right? If you orient yourself towards those things, you're going to be of good use to yourself and the world around you. Right. Now, I think a good man, at the most fine, granular way that I could put it, is of good use to himself and the world around him. And that's not all of it. That's not all of it. And he gets there by pursuing truth and love. Right. And I said the deeper truth, the capital T truths, right? Yeah. Capital T truths, and also the truth about himself, the truth about what he actually wants, the truth about what he's afraid of, that he's got a way of willingly meeting this. But if we just go with truth and we don't add love, then that comes into that, you know, just pull yourself up by your bootstraps sort of mentality. And I really think that's generally bullshit. Yeah, 100%. I think I'm not a self-made man. I did a lot by myself, but man, there was a lot of people that extended grace along the way. Yeah. And anybody that says they're 100% self-made person, I really don't believe you.
Yeah, neither do I.
And I don't trust you.
Yeah. I was successful because I believe the Lord opened these doors and I got great opportunities and placed people in my life that wanted to invest in me, that wanted to help me, that wanted to be a part of my life. But there was no way I could ever say I did all this on my own. Like I did all my mistakes on my own. I learned from those, but there were always people in my life that wanted to invest in me for whatever reason. Yeah. I'm very thankful.
And when we talk about the truth, I think it's important to discuss that as we go through life, we start taking on pain, we start taking on failure, and we start to create ideas about ourselves that are very finite, that are very black and white. This means this about me. Yeah. You start to create meaning, and then you live as if that meaning is true. Yeah. Right? The pursuit of truth is like we were just looking at, and we want to say, I'm making it mean this for my own reasons, but does it actually mean that? Right. Or is this just my perception? Because there's a difference between your perception and the actual truth. Yeah. right? And if you can create a deeper understanding, it doesn't absolve you of responsibility. It doesn't absolve you of taking care of your mess along the way. But it is important to put into question the absolute finite meaning, because when you offer no path to redemption about certain things, you actually ensure that thing will continue to go on, right? And kind of in the conversation we were having around sex and jiu-jitsu, like sex and violence are the two things that they're very touchy subjects, okay? Race as well. Sure. And oftentimes we don't leave a path of redemption for people who have crossed certain lines. Now, I understand that. Sometimes it can be really sensitive when you talk about sexual assault and things like that. But when there's no path to redemption, if you even have thoughts about it, a certain thing that would be irredeemable, you can't share that.
Right.
Because it's irredeemable.
I'm dealing with a situation right now where, as a pastor, I am counseling someone who is kind of famous online for being involved in a very toxic relationship, right? And as a pastor and counselor, I have to be able to work and speak with everybody, right? There's redemption for everybody. There's forgiveness for everybody, even the ugly, right? And I've had to take a stand in what I truly believe, that everybody is redeemable. Right? There's the Bible won't talk about the Bible won't talk about one unforgivable sin, right? Blasphemy of the Holy Spirit. Other than that, if you did something, now the consequences are going to be different, right?
You might have consequences.
There's going to be consequences. There's going to be consequences, right? And I've taken a stand for this person because I have seen the change. The person is remarried. This stuff happened about 10 years ago. Right. And that was something that I had to sit down and really, because I have a little bit of a platform. I knew people were going to, bro, the internet is wild, bro. Let me tell you something real quick. So you know how we do our promotions, right? And we're pretty famous on the internet for the way we do our promotions. Brazil loves us. All the people love us. When my boys got their blue belts, I went on Reddit and I was like, hey guys, promoting my sons. That Saturday, or that promotion that year, we had like 30 promotions. We gave out like 20 blue belts, right? The first thing I got on Reddit was like, how could you promote 30 people? You must be a McDojo. And I was like, whoa, what the fuck is this? Like, bro, Reddit blew me up. And then I posted the video of my sons doing their self-defense portion. And they're like, what is that? That's not you. And I was like, delete. I got ate apart on the internet. And I just couldn't I couldn't believe it. And then people were like calling me like, I saw that. It was crazy. But on the internet, you're either gonna love your hate you no matter what, right? And I knew these people. I knew people were gonna come after a certain group, and so every 2 or 3 months, I'll wake up in the morning, and on the gym Instagram, there'll be like 20 people that are talking shit about this other guy and myself for helping him out, and I just delete, and that's it. And I keep it moving because I truly believe in the work that he's put in and the work I'm putting in with it.
Yeah, it's like, hey, I'm not asking you to forgive.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
don't tell me that my heart can't be open to somebody because they've done something.
And I really had to sit with it though for a minute, because I was like, look, this is gonna come out. People are gonna say something, and I had to like really sit in that and like, okay, I'm either gonna step in this or not, And then I asked myself too. I had to ask myself, if I'm a pastor, if I am really going to be his brother in Christ and help him move forward, I can't pick and choose. I can't pick and choose. And it was rough for me for a little bit, but yeah, I 100% agree. 100% agree. You work with leaders and high performers. What are some common blind spots that sabotage successful men?
Well, we just experienced some of them. That's the best way I can answer it.
Yeah.
I could point to all these things.
Sure, yeah.
And I think it's the inability. I think a lot of times people don't seek counsel. And so they got blind spots. Yeah. Right. And they're not aware of their blind spots.
I have a mentor in every area of my life, like a financial mentor.
I believe you do.
I have a mentor in every area of my life. I realized there was a point in my life where I thought I knew it all. And then I realized, oh, I don't know anything, and I'm only here because God has taken care of me. Now let me get close to men that know it. Right.
Totally.
And as a matter of fact, Professor, I really can't even mess around with people. I hate using that word. I'm taking these NLP classes now to talk better, and I can't associate myself with men who don't have like a vision and I'm not saying, I'm just saying I can't associate myself with someone who's not even trying to find their vision or trying to find their purpose, or like they're still living in the past. I can't, And I'm okay now with walking away from people.
Right.
Where before I would be embarrassed to walk away, or this guy did so much for me, let me hang out. I can't. I just can't, man. I'm too old. And I realize my time and my energy are too important. They're too valuable.
Yeah, when you don't have clarity on how much your past pain, your past patterning is influencing your current decision making.
Yeah.
Think about what the outflow of that is, what comes out of that.
Yeah.
Right? What's actually making your decisions? You think it's free will.
Yeah.
And you are making choices, but I don't think that you're making choices that they almost have to happen that way.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you're unconscious. Like I could see, yesterday I was at the gym and saw a guy there, had a Hofstra wrestling shirt on, and I was like, "Hey, do you wrestle at Hofstra?" He was actually like a real dick. And he was
Really?
like, yeah, because I'm from Long Island, so Hofstra's on Long Island. And he looked
At Victory or at
Victory?
the
At
gym?
Victory.
Yeah. Did he not know who you were?
No, it was just must have just joined.
Imagine that.
Yeah, and he's like, "Yeah, man, I just want to wrap my hands."
Wow.
Oh, all right. And I walked away kind of like in disbelief,
Yeah,
because
sure.
I was really just
Yeah.
hey, what's up? Maybe I can help you out.
I see you at open mat, son.
Yeah, that's it. But there's a part of me that my past conditioning just wanted to slap him in his
Sure.
teeth right there,
100%.
right? Like knock his teeth sideways,
Yeah.
But I get to sit with that. I get to sit with, what part of me still needs
Right.
him to treat me a certain way for me to be okay with me? What part of me is afraid to leave that alone?
Yeah.
Right. And so I walk away. I even asked him, I saw him again, I was like, "Hey, everything okay, man? Like, I'm not trying to disrespect you, just," and he just wasn't able to offer much.
Yeah.
Now there's a part of me that wants to check this kid.
Yeah, sure.
And I don't know if I will or won't.
Yeah.
But it's something I get to sit with.
Yeah.
Right. That's something I get to sit with. There's still a part of me
Yeah.
that wants to be respected or treated with respect. And there's nothing wrong with that per se, but I don't need to address this.
Right.
Now, part of me does need to address this.
Sure.
I get to sit with why that is.
Yeah.
And I don't put a right or wrong on it. Maybe I slap him, maybe I don't.
Yeah. That's a powerful insight. That's especially, I deal with that a lot. One of the, like for me, a conclusion I've come to is like, there's a lot of guys in jail, in prison, like for lack of respect, right? They wanted the respect and they had to go and get it, right? And I'll share this story with you. So, and I still deal with, sometimes I deal with I'm very hyper vigilant. Like when I'm driving, I don't park close to cars. I always have a space to escape all this. And I shouldn't have to be like that anymore, but I am. And somebody cut me off, and then they kind of like hit the brake on me too. So I was like, chasing them, and as I'm driving up next to them, it's like he's like an old dude, like a gangster guy, whatever, like a Hispanic guy, and I'm like, I'm gonna whip this dude's ass. Like I was just having one of those days, like And as we're driving, I felt the Holy Spirit tell me, "Don't stop, don't do this, don't do this." And I'm like, no, I'm having this internal talk, this conversation with the Holy Spirit. And like I always carry my gun with me, so I was just looking over, right, and he's looking at me, right, and this dude wanted smoke. Like this dude had a gun. This dude was like everything where that was going to be a bad day was about to happen. And I'm looking at him, we're looking at each other, and then I was like, "Hey man, my bad, I'm sorry." And he's like, and it kept going. I was like, and I pulled over, and I was like, one of us was going to die. Like for what?
Over what?
For what?
Yeah.
For what? For what? And thank God I was like open to listening to the Holy Spirit, where 4 years ago, I'm not, we're shooting, like, that's going down. But when I saw his face, like, what a fucking killer looks like, what somebody who's gonna, like, you've seen those guys' eyes, right? And I looked right at him, and I was like, and then the Holy Spirit just like, no, like, this is no. And I was like, that troubled me for a while.
Sure.
That troubled me for a while, because not being in tune with that, like, and that was like a random Tuesday, bro.
Yeah, man. I remember I was at a gas. This actually happened a while ago. I was actually like living at the gym at Alliance.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Upstairs.
And, upstairs with Deli Martinez.
Yeah.
And I was at a gas pump, and I had probably done something rude, and the guy started lipping off to me. Some Mexican guy started lipping off to me. And my first reaction was like, "Bro, I will fucking kill you."
Yeah.
And I said that out loud. And then I for some reason, I caught myself, and what popped through my head was, what's going to happen when you're 60 and you can't do that anymore?
Yeah. Wow.
Like I was probably wrong here, but I was at the kind of the place in my life where like might makes right. You know what I mean? Like I'm right. You know what I mean? Like we'll figure this out one way or another. And I sat with that and I said, hey, you know what, man? I'm sorry, that was uncalled for. I'm just having a bad day. That was my bad. But I realized that in that moment, how heavily I relied on my capacity for violence. It was really to give me so I could feel a certain way about myself. So I could have that security to be right no matter what. So I could take your girl no matter what. You know what I mean? Like that type of thing. And I'm like, man, one day that's going to run out. Yeah. And I'm going to be really in a bad spot when I don't have anything else to attach myself to.
And I started learning that when these kids got a little bit older, like this guy, the older guy's like, let's spar, Dad. When was that? 2 years ago when he wanted to spar the first time?
I just got out.
Oh, he just got out because like he wanted to put the gloves on. I was like, I was slow. You know what I mean? Like you realize, like if you realize that, it gets scary. It gets scary, like having that realization of like, oh yeah, we know how to fight. We've been fighting all our lives. We've been doing things all our lives, but age hits you and you're, bro, I can barely run. I can't even run, Professor. I can barely, we barely walking in today, right? That's going to lead you one day. We kind of touched on this, but for you, how important is brotherhood and community for men? Can anybody truly heal alone?
I think I don't know, maybe there's outliers there. I don't think that the odds are great to do this work by yourself, because here's why. A lot of our pain, and I say our because where does your pain happen? It happens in relationship.
Yeah.
Okay. So you ain't gonna heal hiding away, reading books.
Right.
Right. And because this is what shame does. Shame says, all right, I'm not gonna let anybody know I have this problem, but I'm gonna read a book and I'm gonna take care of it. And once I've created the finished product, then I'll go back out into the world and let people see the fixed me, because I can't love the fucking not fixed me.
Right.
That don't work, bro. That's still shame. You can't heal from that place. You can't transform, not in the way that we're talking, from that place.
Yeah.
You can do a lot of things based off shame. I don't think you get across the finish line if you're still witnessing yourself shamefully, if you're still treating yourself from, only once I'm fixed. And I've done this, and I think a lot of us have done some version of this, but I have no evidence that it works.
Yeah. How do you define emotional maturity in men?
One is just a willingness to take responsibility for yourself. Yeah. Like take responsibility for who I'm bringing to there's a responsibility and an awareness. I think that's what really creates maturity, responsibility and awareness. And then you meld those two things together, and that creates maturity, right? It's like, oh, I'm aware that I have this pattern. Yeah. And I'm responsible for it.
When would you ever end a relationship with somebody like a brother, or let's talk about when is it safe? Because I'm wondering if there's a lot of other men out there like I was, where I felt like I maybe owed people in my life. And I think it's a really important question to ask, because I feel like your community kind of defines who you are, or you're either successful or not based on the people you surround yourself with. It's a big part of it. And so I know for a long time I kept people around me that I shouldn't have, but I felt like I owed them something. For you, Eric, what's like a hard line that like, I'm cutting this person off? Or
man, I think about this quite often, and
so we just got done talking about forgiveness, right?
Yeah.
But so for you, what does that look like for you?
I don't really like. Look, if you like fuck my wife, like we're probably not going to be cool no more.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like stuff like that. Even if you steal from me, I'm not going to let you in my house again.
Right.
But I'll forgive you.
Yeah.
I might not invest energy into you. It's not I don't have these like big formal, like I'm cutting this person off type deal. That's never been a conversation for me. And I think sometimes it's necessary for people to do that. I think when people are first learning boundaries, they're like, fucking boundary. And they're doing that whole deal. And they're learning, they're growing up into that material of their life and learning how to employ it. Eventually those become walls. Yeah. I don't want walls, right? So I think what I really I see like, this person in my life, how does this make sense right now? Like how much of this is coming from my fear? I really take a look at the whole package. I don't cut people off because they're not doing what I'm doing. I'm not into any of that. I'm very present to where I want to invest my energy and my vision.
That's
and
good.
if things fall into that, then I'll probably be spending more time with that person. It's not like a conscious decision of one or the other.
You just know you have a limited amount of time.
I know I got a little bit limited amount of time and
energy.
energy.
You're going to put that into your purpose.
And I put it towards where it's meaningful.
What do you think men are truly starving for? What do you think men are truly starving for right now?
I think it's, well, one, I think brotherhood is important, and brotherhood being the mix of love, accountability, challenge, right?
Yeah.
Shared struggle, shared victories, like that whole thing.
Yeah.
Right? Our lives are often so spread out. Like, I don't know none of my neighbors. Like I know them a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what
Not
I mean?
like when you do when you're little.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I knew everybody in my neighborhood, but people, the family dynamic breaks down. People go far and do their own things, which I think is great to a point, but there's such a hyper individualism.
Yeah.
And I'm not into like forced collectivism or anything like that. I don't think that's helpful either. But I see so many people where like their concept of self, their concept of belonging sometimes starts and stops with just the people that are closest to them. Like, my kids and my family. And not a right or wrong to that, but it's often very insulated from support. And so like if you and I are in community with each other, like really what I'm beginning to create with some people close to me is that, your problems are my problems type of deal, right? And your victories are my victories. Yeah. And there's an investment in each other's lives. Yeah. Like beyond the fact that whatever, we're not blood related or whatever the thing might be, it's setting myself up around people where we get to be invested in each other's lives.
I get excited when my friends' kids like do good in school. Yeah, yeah. Like when they do like student of the week, whatever, like that, I get pumped for that shit. Like,
all day. So I think that's what's really important to me is creating some sense of that. It's not all on you. Like, look, I think if you want to be a provider and a protector, I think it's important to be able to carry some level of burden. Sure. The idea that you're supposed to carry that all by yourself is bullshit and it's harmful. Yeah. Right? You can't just carry the burden. Yeah. Right? If you don't make time to receive, to nourish yourself, you will end up depleted. Yeah. If you end up depleted, you actually have nothing to give these people anymore. Yeah. Right? You can't emotionally give. You can't be present. Yeah. Right? You can show up, you can pay the bills, you can do all that stuff. My dad worked 7 days a week, 3 jobs, right? He had his thing going on. I can't tell you any like life lessons I got from my dad. I can't tell you anything here. My dad taught me how to kill the enemy with fucking piano wire. That's and how to tear someone's ear off when I was like 10. That's it. Right? I didn't get any of those things. He didn't have anything left over. Right. He was carrying a burden, never talked to nobody about it. Yeah. God bless him. Like, you know what I mean? Sure. Like he was, it's not an easy thing to do. Yeah. And I don't fault him for that actually at all. Right. But with awareness comes responsibility. So if we're sitting here, we understand those guys didn't know that back then. They didn't know that. Oh, like, what do you mean tend to my emotional shit? Right. They didn't know that there was even an upside doing so. Okay. But we don't have that. Like, you don't have that concept today. Yeah. Today we know, we understand these things. And anybody says that these things are not important is deluding themselves. Yeah, I believe that. What's one of the hardest truths a man must eventually accept if he truly wants to grow? Whatever's true, right? Look at what. Yeah, that's pretty simple. Whatever's true. How do I really feel about this? Yeah. What do I really want to do? Get in touch with the truth. Own your desires. Yeah. Own what you actually want. Own, hey, you know what? I'm tired of listening to my wife treat me like this. I like how you said earlier, you're like, you think it, you told me something like, you know it's true up here, but what do you feel about that? That's power. That was, I'm never going to forget that. Let's kind of end this first part with this. What does becoming the best version of yourself actually mean to you? Can you become that? Is that even something in your vocabulary? I don't think it's a great marketing talking point, and I probably use it for stuff like that. Yeah. I don't know that I use it much in my own personal life. Yeah. The game for me right now is just expanding into more truth and more the ability to love, receive love, like and there's lots of ways that functions. You know, lots of ways that functions. Sometimes love is being hard on somebody.
Yeah.
Right. It's, hey, I actually expect more from you. I think you're capable of more than you're showing up. And I think, you know, and do you want to do more? Okay, you want to do more. Okay, well, your actions aren't showing that.
Right.
Right. Sometimes that's love.
Yeah.
It's also truth.
Yeah.
Right. Sometimes love is understanding what's having them make the decisions that has them not sticking to what they said they were going to do. Sometimes it's not beating them down. It's knowing when to push,
when to pull back a little bit,
when to pull back a little bit, when to care a little bit more, right? When to nurture, right? It's having, like, you can't, if you don't have sensitivity, the ability to sense, you can't fight.
Right.
If you don't have sensitivity, the ability to sense, you can't lead.
Yeah.
If you don't have a sense of what's needed, you can't do any of those things.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, it's developing that sense for myself and for the people that I happen to be involved with in my life.
Yeah, that's good. We're gonna jump ahead and just switch lanes here. You've been around MMA and jiu-jitsu culture for years. What has changed the most since you first started?
I mean, it's like, it's so available now. You know, it's so,
You know what? Sometimes I hate that so many people know about jiu-jitsu. I started in 1996. Like nobody did it, right. and like I mean, we should have done the therapy on the thing on this. Like, why when I see people wearing jiu-jitsu stuff, it annoys me. I don't even know what that's about, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I could take a stab in the dark, but I think it's interesting because I think when you were even a little bit before I am, but when we were coming up, it was a little bit more of a rugged time.
Yeah.
And the way that gyms were ran were not really even business models. No, right? It was like we would weed out the weak people, and all of that. And I still think that there's a place for that, to be honest. But yeah, that stuff has changed and it's become accessible to where, like, you know, people, because sometimes people wear the jiu-jitsu stuff and it's like, I might interpret that like they're like puffing their chest, and I realize, like, bro, jiu-jitsu guys are dorks.
Yeah.
Like, by and large, like, and also just because you train jiu-jitsu don't mean you can fight.
Not at all. Yeah.
Right? And so there's a little bit of probably pride and ego on my end when I see some of that stuff. Yeah. But yeah, I think it's just the availability, the commonness of it, I think is probably the biggest thing that I see.
Do you think social media has helped martial arts culture or damaged it?
It's two things, bro. It's, you know, one, I mean, look, more people, jiu-jitsu's everywhere. Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Right. It's also as jiu-jitsu's everywhere, and that's kind of a
You think it's going to be Taekwondo in 50 years? No, I think it's...
Nah, I think because it works.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Taekwondo can work in a context.
Sure.
Jiu-jitsu can work in a lot of different contexts.
Yeah,
I think,
that's right.
Look, there's always going to be people that want to make things accessible to everyone, and there's going to be people that want to hold on to some pureness of it and hold some structure around it. I think both are great. I don't think you have to, like...
No, 100%.
You might choose to do one or the other, and I think that's your choice.
Yeah. So this question is kind of just something from my experience. I wanted to get your take on it. I remember when I was coming in the early days, like, you didn't leave your team. It was like there was no cross training back when I first started. Like, if Fabio found out you trained someplace else, like, you'd get kicked out. That shit didn't happen, and if it did, nobody talked about that. Why do you think? I think I know the answer, but why do you think so many people are just quick to leave gyms nowadays, and nobody really stays with their team for
same reason they're quick to leave relationships?
Wow,
right? They're quick to leave anything. This is part of the culture now. We don't have the discipline, or the martial arts aspect is gone.
Yeah.
In most jiu-jitsu gyms, right? The martial arts, and honestly, a lot of people that are to blame for how they mishandled that responsibility, right? A lot of these, dude, there was a lot of times where it was kind of assumed because you're a black belt, like, you must be wise or something outside of that. And I know too many black belts that I wouldn't let change my shoes or tie my shoes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've awarded. How do you say that? Awarded? Promoted? Yeah. I promoted 28 black belts, and there's one black belt that I regret. Just one. Just one black belt that I regret because the person was not a good person, and and I did it more, and I'll admit it, I did it more on friendship. The guy's an animal on the mat, but just not a good person. Just not a good person.
Yeah.
Not a good person, you know. And so
it's interesting when you take martial arts and you turn it into a business, right?
yeah.
Look, and I'm not saying you did this, but I'm saying like generally, right? What's gonna happen? Well, people want to make money.
Sure, yeah.
Martial arts is not actually a suitable business model.
No, yeah.
It's not. Martial arts is like Buddhism and meditation. You gotta want to do that. You have to seek that out specifically, right? There's not a line out the door at the local Buddhist temple. You know what I mean? For people like,
well, you know, that's why like in the kids program now in jiu-jitsu, they have, it used to be white, gray, it used to be white, yellow, but now it's white, gray, yellow, orange, green. And then in each one of those belts, there's 3 belts, like for retention purposes. I don't do that shit. I like other places, they'll do like orange, white, orange, gray, or orange, and then orange, black. I just do you're just that one belt. I don't do that shit. And I know a few parents have left because like so-and-so on the street has already got, I go, we don't do that. Like we don't do that. But yeah, it's trying to maintain that martial arts
tough, man,
and the business. It's very tough.
I don't open a gym.
You'd be super successful though. What does fighting reveal about a person that eventually life usually hides?
Oh, I think, like it reveals the deeper nature of your fearful patterns.
Yeah.
Right. Whatever they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you'll get to see them. I
don't think there's nothing like, for me, as much as I hate it, like there's nothing like being in those like late rounds and you're tired and you're like, you push through and you get tapped, or you just like, you want to quit but you don't, you look, it's like a minute left, and like the little win for you is like, I'm not gonna get tapped. And then like it's a certain type of person, but now that we've had this conversation, now I'm asking myself, what's making me do that? Like where I'm gonna go sit in the shower for an hour after this thing. And I you know what I should tell myself? I'm just a badass dude. Like I'm just cut differently. I think I'm just dealing with more trauma.
Yeah,
bro. That's the thing. After this conversation we had, I'm thinking like, right? Because most jiu-jitsu dudes walking, most guys that do MMA were like, yeah, let's. And then you get, you know, and you think you're tough and you think you're savage. I'm like, wait a minute. I think I'm doing that for all I don't want to say wrong reason, but not the reason I thought I was doing that.
It might not be the reason you thought, and there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah. How important is culture inside of a gym? Can the wrong culture ruin even talented athletes? Or let's talk, okay, hold that question, right? With Victory, because I started Victory with Jocko and Dean, right? They took me from another place to open that up. With something like Victory, which is like the super center now, right? You guys are having the Victory Ultra, or now you guys have that. I don't know why that didn't happen years ago, right? Like that's just insane. With something as big as that, right? We had the guy that didn't know who you were, one of the professors there. Like, I can't wait till he sees this, or like, I'm astonished, right? Like you have guys like that. So when I was there, it was one. Dean was always in and out, and I ran the whole program. So we had all these different classes, but it was always Dean Lister team, right? And now I think it's not like that anymore, right? It's just everybody, like I saw Baker has like his Baker's Dozen, and everybody has like, Shannon has his group, and like there's different things, and they kind of fall under the banner of Victory now as opposed to Dean's thing, right? Because you got Jeff, Kanyan's there now, all these. I saw Michael Perez. I was like, well, that's just it's insane, right? So what kind of culture is? What kind of culture is that? Like, is that beneficial to people? Do people get like? Because in my mind, I'm thinking like a mega church. Yeah, the small churches, mega churches. Like, what kind of culture is important?
Well, I think each instructor in that particular case brings their own culture, and as long as it's generally doesn't seem to be in conflict with anybody else's thing that's going on. Like, we have the pro team, obviously, the Victory Ultra, and we train together, but then I'll drop into Shannon's class in the morning and just grab a drilling.
Is there a director of jiu-jitsu there, or is it like is there somebody who's in charge of the jiu-jitsu?
I'm not actually sure.
No, okay.
I'm not even on the schedule anymore.
Just show up and train.
Yeah.
That's better that way, huh? Sometimes.
I think culture is important. Culture is everything. And it's okay. There's going to be different cultures for different people, right? And I think you want to find a culture that fits you.
That's healthy for you.
man, for a long time, it was really hard for me because of the environments that I trained in. I mean, you know, coming out of like Alliance MMA, I mean, just being around champions and champion atmospheres and champion camps and knowing what it took for that to become a thing, I thought that was the way because it was successful, right? So I was like, oh, this is the way. This is how you do it. And then I've realized it's not the way for everybody.
Right.
And yeah, I think there's lots of different ways to create cultures. It's interesting. Like I had a kid, Ben, that trained with me in Phuket, and he was one of probably my favorite student I've ever had, and I have a lot of love for the kid, and I brought him out there from Manchester, England.
Okay.
And he owns the biggest and most successful grappling gym in probably in Thailand, period, at this point, in Phuket Grappling Academy, and he's so much different than me. He's much more inclusive, much more gentle. He'll still like, you know, he'll haze some students a little bit, like when he's rolling with them and stuff like that. But he's very nice, very inclusive. I was a fucking tyrant, you know, and he runs things differently, and he's really successful. I was also really successful. Some people liked that I was so hands-on with everything and created this atmosphere because, granted, fight teams and grappling teams a little bit different, but and so like who's to say, right? Like he's running a very successful business. They're producing a lot of killers out of there. So
what do you think makes a great coach beyond technical knowledge? Or what do you know?
Yeah, awareness and sense. Like being able to, how do I communicate to this person?
Yeah.
Right. So like, I hate working with new people. Yeah. Right. I don't have the patience to teach somebody how to walk and chew gum at the same time. You know, and some people when they're coming in, they don't have a lot of coordination in this sense. It's very difficult for me. I want to do advanced problem solving and that's what I'm into. So one, it's like know who you want to serve. Right. Know who you can serve.
That's big.
And then be open to expanding your ability to serve more than you pigeonhole yourself into.
You know, it's funny that you say that because for the longest time I was like really big into like the self-defense aspect of it, and then I changed into just wanting to promote like just movement for your life for everybody. Right now I pride myself on taking the kid that is like the dorkiest, gumpiest, like 2 left feet, and like just letting them get a triangle, like just like I when they walk in, I'm like I have a passion for that, for the like that's like,
beautiful.
I love that. I love problem solving, like brand new white belts that don't get the steps. So I do CLA with the white belts, right? And it's like I'm seeing how they pick it up a lot easier, and it's like just sitting down and problem solving with them. I work with a lot of kids from the regional center as well as autistic kids, you know. Nice. And like being able to be hands on with them, and then when they get it, and then we got this little girl named Sophia from the regional center, and she's probably like 100 pounds, right? And I just taught her a body lock. I was like, Sophia, just get a circle around their legs, or they're like single leg, double leg, circle around the legs, circle around the body, right? Circle. She just grabs a circle. I did that right now brings me the greatest joy in seeing someone like that who maybe at like a regular gym wouldn't survive, you know, like wouldn't survive at a regular gym, but like that's my passion right now. I love that. I love that. Professor, you've seen fighters at the highest level. What usually breaks people mentally before they ever fail physically?
That's a good question. What breaks people before? I think if they don't have their personal lives and some like their personal lives getting out of control, their stuff getting out of control, what that leads to off the mat. Yeah. Right. That being said, man, I've seen a lot of people that I know that were, look, you can be dysfunctional, but not let it affect your training too. Right. So it's not that you have to like heal to be a champion. Most of them, to my knowledge, are nowhere near that, right?
Yeah. Sometimes that's the fuel.
Yeah, right? Sometimes that's the fuel. It's being willing. It's really the ability to really focus on something to such an intensity. Like when Dominic was in his prime, Dom, if you caught him with something, he wasn't leaving the gym until he figured out how to stop that. Really? You know, and then he'd have to come back later on, and do it again. And, like his focus and his willingness to suffer and his willingness to put everything meaningful into this one thing. Yeah. And there's lots of guys that their level of commitment would look insane to the average person, and it's nothing compared to somebody like Dominic in his prime.
Yeah.
Right. So there's levels to that. There's levels of obsession and just complete and utter focus onto one thing. And that's really what it takes to be great.
At anything, right?
At anything.
Yeah.
Now, you might not be great at other things if you put your sole focus into one thing. And oftentimes you have to learn how to live the rest of your life when you do that. It's not for everybody.
Yeah.
Maybe everybody could do it, I suppose. I don't.
But that's the sacrifice, I guess.
But there's a lot of sacrifice involved. Yeah.
Can martial arts heal people emotionally and spiritually, or can it also become another mask for ego and insecurity?
I think it can be a temporary uplifter, and eventually you're going to have to look at yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like anything. Look, you could, I'm in the gym, whatever. I'm just lifting weights and I feel better about myself. Right. And eventually that doesn't do it anymore. Then you go do the thing over and over again. It's not producing the same thing.
Yeah.
Right. That was never the problem.
Yeah.
Right. You looked at some symptoms, you've addressed some symptoms.
Yeah.
But you never got to the root.
I always ask people, I do like a reflection once a week to the students, and I'm like, why are you here? Mm-hmm. What are you here for? Right? What do you, like, nobody's ever said in my groups, right? Like, I want to be a world champion. Like, I'm depressed. I got a lot of combat veterans. I'm depressed. I don't want to be depressed anymore. Like, I want to lose weight. Like, I always remind the students to ask themselves, what are you here for?
Yeah.
Because I don't want you to be here for what I want for like, I'm here for a different reason. Because I love teaching, like, or I'm, my sons are here for a different reason. My son's going to start fighting, like, but what are you here for? Don't get it mixed up where, like, you have to be here or you turned your want into your friend's want, right? Like, those are two different things, man. I think people sometimes either forget or just kind of get lost in the day-to-day and forget why they're doing what they're doing. I think that's important to understand your why, like why you're doing what you're doing.
Get in touch with that often. Get in touch with your intention often. It's very easy to just fall back into mind chatter.
In your opinion, Professor, because you've seen it at the highest level, what does it truly take to be, I guess we kind of step on this, but truly take to become a champion? Is there anything else that you would add there besides the focus?
Obsession.
You
got to be obsessed. Pretty much like an unhealthy degree. Yeah.
So, Professor, my boy's got some questions for you. So, come on up on this side over here. And then go ahead, Hunter.
We go one by one?
One by one. Yeah, do one by one.
My first question is...
Right here. Talking to the mic slower.
Damn. You know over here?
That's all right.
My first question is, what is a healthy mindset to have as a fighter when things are down or rough?
I think what I've seen and really try to instill in people is one, an ability to find calm in chaos.
That's
right?
good.
If you can find your center, if you can learn how to, I think some people have maybe a more natural ability for that other times, but you can train it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can train yourself to notice where you normally go when things are not going great, when things are chaotic, and begin to learn how to find your center.
Yeah.
Right. There's it's really cool. I did this like samurai training one time.
Nice.
Yeah, it was really cool where they were talking about the mindset of the samurai, and they were, the samurai, he knows the battlefield is neither just nor fair. Right. And so he holds that with him. He knows that it's not about justice or fairness. I have to be present to whatever's happening. Doesn't matter if I had a bad weight cut. Doesn't matter if I made a mistake. I shouldn't be in this position. None of that is applicable here, right? It's keeping in your center no matter what happens.
The battlefield is neither just nor fair.
My first question is, what is a mistake a lot of young men make when in a relationship, in the early stages of a relationship?
Early stages of a relationship. Well, there's lots of mistakes that men make in relationships. So, let's see.
So would you a little more specific? What's like a big mistake? What's one mistake you see most men make? A common mistake, maybe?
What's a big mistake?
Okay.
Well, one, I think oftentimes we don't. I see this in a lot of young men, and I think that's something that can happen as you get older. But I think sometimes we're more into the idea of the person than who they actually are, and it takes time to get to know a person and know yourself first. Like it's really hard to know what I'm actually into. Like a lot of my relationships up until I met my wife, and even in the beginning when I met my wife, was the same reason. I liked how I thought they made me look and feel
Sure.
Like, oh, I got this girl. People are going to see me with her. That's going to mean this about me. And people are operating in some version of that a lot of the times, right? So, yeah, just being aware of what you actually like about this person.
We had the conversation this morning, remember? Like, so, Professor, what's the difference between being in love with somebody and actually loving them?
Yeah, so actually loving them is the willingness to show up, the willingness to like
The action, right?
the
Like,
action. Yeah. It's like the where you got to show up, you got to do the loving.
We had a me and my little guy had a real tough conversation this morning about, I told him, I fell in love with her. I fell in love with the way she looks, the way she makes me feel, the way she smells.
I got infatuated.
Yeah.
That's probably a more accurate way.
And then I told him, I said, love is an action.
Huh.
Love is an action, and you choose to love somebody, right? You didn't fall in love. You choose, like, you liked them, you got infatuated, and then you choose to love. And we had a real hard conversation, and he said, "Did you choose to stop loving mom?" And I said, now that I look, I said, yeah, but the lie was, I fell out of love with mom because of the hurt she did to me. Mm-hmm. But no, when I look back, it was a choice I made. And that was a hard conversation to have, because as you get older, you start to understand these things. You look in yourself and it's like, yeah, it's a choice. Is that why you asked that question? Because of the conversation we had today? Or
It just came to me.
yeah, that was a good
It's also like, you'll know if you're willing to, if you're invested in their well-being and their happiness, not just what they can do for you, but that you take joy in their joy, you take joy in showing up for them. If you maybe even take joy in sacrificing for them, like, I think those are all good indicators. It doesn't have to be like that all the time, but those are often pretty good indicators.
That was good. Big guy?
My second question is, as an upcoming fighter, what are some points to be aware of when coming into MMA?
I think this is, I used to say this a long time ago, and I still think it's a pretty good measurement. It's like, all right, can I win my skill, or do what place at my skill level in a local grappling tournament?
Right.
Can I hold my own or do well in a kickboxing smoker or a boxing smoker?
Yeah.
Right. Can I manage the competitiveness of those things separate? Right. And like, if I can do those things, I think then it's probably a good idea to start then I can, mixing it and getting involved in because if I'm not adequate enough to do those things, I'm going to have a massive hole in my game.
Yeah.
Right. So I think, like, just from a technical end, I think those are some things I would encourage people to consider before they decide to step. Now, again, you could also just be somebody that's got good takedown defense and can spark people, and you don't need to use jiu-jitsu. So, but I think if I was just talking to the average person, like, those would be just some things that I would, like, if I go compete in grappling and I'm a complete fish out of water.
Yeah.
I might want to think about stepping in the cage just yet.
Yeah.
If I go to do a smoker of some sorts, like a striking smoker, and that I just feel completely overwhelmed, I might want to do a few more of those to get some ring time underneath me.
I used to follow this guy. I still do. He was a European, but he lived in Indonesia, I think, or Singapore. He was in some place. He had over 130 something fights, but like 130 MMA, 130 Muay Thai fights. Well, still, yeah. No, yeah. How did you? Yeah, it's so crazy. Yeah. That dude fought everything. Yeah, he fought everything. Yeah. That you trained with him before?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, that's crazy. There's only like one dude like that. Like, I don't know anybody else on the internet that does
He'd fight
that.
any combat sport.
Yeah, he would fight anything. Yeah.
He was like 130 pounds.
Yeah,
6'4".
yeah. That's crazy. You knew exactly what I was talking about. Little one. Or who's next? Little one? Yeah.
If you could double down on any leadership trait, what would it be and why?
Ooh, let me sit with that for a moment. If I could double down on any leadership trait, I think it all starts with personal honesty. Yeah. If I can't be honest with myself, I like the ability to look at myself and be honest, like those two things you need. Right. You can't be honest with yourself if you don't know how to look at yourself honestly. And I think, because that's going to be the outflow of everything that comes from me.
You can have all the right words for somebody, right? But that's powerful. Like, yeah. I feel like I owe you $500 still from what happened earlier. Fresh is the only three time we brought him back. We got to bring him back for a fourth one too. Big guy, what you got?
My last question is, what are some things to look for when you have a win and a loss to excel?
Okay. What are some things to look for when you have a win or a loss to excel? Well, when you have a win, right, it's like what worked. Yeah, what worked? What made that a win? What contributed to that win? And I think it's the exact opposite. It's willing to objectively look at the loss and take responsibility for what happened. It's funny, this is kind of off topic, but I think this is like really relevant information, and because I see this happen all the time. Fighters got a fight coming up, and they're doing everything they can to convince everybody around them that they're not nervous or scared, especially on fight day,
right?
Or just leading up,
Sure.
right? Like, no, I'm good. I never have confidence in those guys.
Really?
No, man. If you're already not getting honest with the fact that you're nervous and you're trying to cover it up, you're trying to convince me that you're all right.
Yeah.
Right?
What is that saying about that person?
That they have it, that they think they're supposed to be a certain way. Right? I think, and the thing is, when you fight anxiety or fear, it just gets worse. Right? If you accept that it's there, if you accept you're afraid, if you accept that you're anxious, then you can be with it and you can channel it, but you can't channel something you haven't accepted. You know what I mean? And it's super, super important. Like, Dom would call Eric like 3 a.m. Yeah. Dude, that's one of the most gangster things about Dom. Obviously, anybody that knows Dom knows he's very honest.
Yeah. Your face.
Yeah, you ain't gonna. But I bring him up because I know so closely what it took for him. I've seen other guys that were champions too, but my relationship to those camps is such that I have a lot of information about them. Just so, and while the game may have changed, I think man, being really honest about your fear and like accepting it. Yeah. Not thinking that something's wrong because you're afraid. Like, bro, you should be afraid.
Yeah, that's good.
You're gonna if you're not afraid, you're fighting a chump, or maybe, man, my worst performances have been when I've been overconfident. Yeah. I think fear is a good thing. Like you said, we want to not feel the fear, so we start doing things to not feel the fear. Yeah. We start doing things instead of accepting it, being with it, right? And then let the acceptance of the thing be where my actions come from, not my unwillingness to feel it.
You know, one of the things that when you and your wife were on, and you guys were both talking to me about, you guys both counseled that day too. We were talking about like the emotion I was dealing with, and you're like, why are you feeling that? Don't just override that, or don't just like stop thinking about it. Like, sit with that feeling. I do that now. Yeah. I do that like automatically. Like it that so impacted me, and I'm like, why am I feeling like that? And I'll just like talk about it. I feel like my wife or my fiance now thinks like I'm already like an old man with Alzheimer's. I talk to myself all the time. Like, she's like, who are you talking to? I'm like, should I talk on the phone to your son? I'm like, I'm just talking to me, babe. She's like, okay. She shuts the door like. Little one, you got the last one? Who got the last one? Yeah?
What have you sacrificed in life to become the leader you are now?
Oof. I've had to like let go of my need to like clinging to like certain identities, like the need to be seen this way, the need to be seen as a leader, the need to be seen as a tough guy, the need to be seen as a ladies man. Like letting go of those identities has been really powerful for me, because I was stuck to those. Those things are what I thought I needed. I thought I needed you to think that I was so exceptional at every area of life. That's the only way. Like I thought relationships were getting attention and applause, because I never had like love. I never felt love before. Like, I didn't know what it felt like to feel loved, but I knew that attention felt better than punishment. Yeah. Right. I knew that applause felt better than getting yelled at or told you're a piece of shit or beat. Right. Right. So I didn't know that they were different. So I pursued those things. And how do you get those things? You impress people. That's what I thought.
Perform.
Yeah, you perform. Right. It's letting go a lot of that. And like, man, for me, at least for me, like, oh, you got a loving dad. So that's awesome. But yeah, like, what does it feel like to receive love? That was fucking terrifying. And then actually having to do it. You know, sometimes my wife loves me so much, it's fucking like, man, I wish this bitch would stop loving me. You know what I mean? Because it feels very intense sometimes for me. But that's what I get. That's what I get to work
I
through.
think we're super. She's like the ultimate woman, dude.
Yeah.
Like, she's beautiful. She's like sometimes like, and then sometimes like I'm scrolling. I'm like, I don't think I'm allowed to like that. Like I don't want a person to see me. I'm like, I'm just gonna pass. I'm like,
You can like it, bro. I'm cool with it. I appreciate the thought. Yeah.
Professor, you get the last word. For any guys out there that are dealing with any hurts, traumas, what can they do, or what's the word you'd give them? And then make sure you talk about the work, how they can reach you, how they can find you.
Yeah. So, man, guidance and mentorship.
Yeah.
Seek guidance and mentorship. And not just because somebody says that they do this thing, but how do you feel when you're with that person, right? Do you feel possibility open up? Do you feel trust with that person? Like, what happens when you're in the presence of this person, even if it's over a Zoom call, right? Yeah. When you have a conversation with that person, what happens? Like, pay attention to that. Pay attention if you feel like there's something there for you, a deeper calling, a deeper sense of truth, and move towards that. Yeah. I think that's, man, I don't know how you do this on your own. If you know, I'm sure there's some outliers there that figure that out, but it's not been my case, and I don't really have a lot of evidence that this solely gets done alone.
Yeah. How can they find you, Professor?
Yeah, Eric the Gentleman on Instagram is the easiest way to access me.
And then where can they go to the work? And
so we have the work is we have 2 locations that we operate from. So one is the Hometown Wave, that's on El Cajon Boulevard down by the university, and the other is the Myco Center, which is in La Mesa. They do a lot of like medicinal mushroom stuff, and they also have a huge like event space in there. We'll be there, and we're every other week at one or the other. So yeah, just hit up my social media. All the information is there, and feel free to reach out in any context. I'm happy to point people in a direction, or if anybody wants to work with me, I'm always happy to start a conversation about what that looks like.
Professor, one last question: UFOs and aliens, are they demons or really aliens?
I think they're really aliens, man. Yeah, I think they're really aliens. I'm skeptical of the idea of demon in the sense that something that advanced hasn't developed the consciousness and responsibility to get here, that they're they would have blown us up already if they had malintent.
Perfect. This has been your Grappling with Grace with Professor Eric. This has been an amazing episode. I can't wait to have you guys here. We'll see you guys next time.